Welcome to the Innovation Best Practices episodes, where every episode is intended to help you sell more and make more from your innovation program using only proven and practical best practices. I have no interest in theory. Sorry for you theory enthusiasts. A special welcome to listeners from around the world in 80 countries. As you can see from the title card of this episode, we are going to be talking about innovation and criticism. This is a very interesting conversation we're going to have. Probably one of the more different episodes that I've done, since I'm not in agreement with a whole lot of this, but I'll point that out where it's appropriate. In criticism in the innovation process has been developed by an Italian professor of leadership and innovation with a book published by the Harvard Business Press and an article in the Harvard Business Review. He shares a 4-step process where criticism is an important part of the dynamic. He claims to have about a dozen companies adopting it, including 2 CPG companies, a high-end fashion company, and a manufacturer of optical cables. So in addition, in this episode to the author's thoughts, I'm going to provide some of my own. Okay, let's get into this. Criticism. The definition is able to judge, value, and interpret. Now, criticism doesn't necessarily need to be a negative in the creative process. It can be a catalyst to something positive, so I really want to point that out. Most idea-generating processes, including quantum idea generation, discourage judgment during most of the upfront idea-generating process. And that's because it just ends up all too early stifling creativity. In my opinion, there are some important distinctions between judgment and criticism. Judging tends to be more of a final conclusion. I don't like this, it's not going to work. Criticism can be a dynamic effort to point out a potential weakness along with a potential solution. So criticism can be, that feature is not going to work, but if you changed it to do this, I think it could. In that spirit, I think criticism can be very positive. In this 4-step process, the first step is about individual reflection. This is an interesting move. People are given an assignment. Employees are asked to reflect on their own potential new directions in life. Where do they sense opportunities? What trends have the most potential in their opinion? And this is all individual work at this stage instead of teamwork. And individuals are given about a month for this reflection. Well, my thoughts on this are the following. Historically, individuals have a very difficult time imagining big new ideas. I've talked about this in some of the episodes on consumer research and focus groups and all that sort of stuff, that when you ask consumers to envision the big ideas of the future, it's very, very difficult for them to do. They're usually best at modest improvements to existing products. So, in my opinion, this process could be helped with considerable stimulus and ensuring meaningful diversity at this early stage instead of just employees within the company. So I think it can be a lot better. In the second step of the 4 is called sparring partners. And here the assignment is for the individual to work with a trusted peer to share, debate, and criticize each other's ideas in an effort to make them much better. And there's some research that suggests that many breakthroughs have been the result of collaborative interaction between 2 people, kind of an environment of sympathetic and constructive criticism. So that's kind of the basis for this. My thoughts on this are that in quantum idea generation, we frequently make good use of people working in pairs. But we always ensure that the pairs include diversity. And it's usually, the diversity in the pairs is usually a pair, one of the members of the pair being internal to the company and the other one being external. Again, I believe this process would work better if stimulus were involved. Working in pairs, to make a note here, is more comfortable for left brain than right-brain people. And you'll recall one of the 4 elements of quantum idea generation is knowing the makeup of your group, left and right brain makeup of your group, and to be able to then tailor creative exercises that optimize the creative process of these very different approaches. In the 3rd step, he titles this Radical Circles. And the assignment here are discussions and deeper criticism are gained from 10 to 20 people. Deep examination of underlying insights and the value proposition for the ideas that come into this session. The goal is to find significant improvements. Now, this process can be done in a multi-day workshop or over the course of a few weeks. Just a note here, you need to be careful with this because you need to keep the criticism constructive, not destructive, or the wheels can start to come off. A few of my thoughts. There's no mention of some of the critical success factors in quantum idea generation in this group process. Things like purposeful diversity, dynamic stimulus, left and right brain exercises, and a reduction of fear replaced by fun. Without very, very strong facilitation leadership, this is a risky undertaking. Chaos and animosity are a significant risk at this stage. Step 4 is called Outsiders, and here the assignment is out of the previous 3 steps, they take some of the very few promising directions, and these are reviewed by a select group of outsiders, typically target users and creative thinkers. They're expected to review the best ideas coming out of the 3rd step, but importantly, not to generate new ideas. My thoughts. In my opinion, injecting diversity at this final stage is too late, especially with the expectation that they will not contribute any more new ideas. Again, managing this process is very challenging. In my experience, diversity working in direct collaboration with internal expertise is where the greatest results are achieved. Well, here's some final thoughts on all of this. In my opinion, the best contribution of this article is to note how criticism can play a positive role. When criticism is a part of the process of making ideas better and better, it does play that positive role. When criticism becomes judgment in early stage creation, it can be stifling and a huge negative. Net, I'm not a big fan of the other aspects of this process, but of course, you're welcome to form your own conclusions. If you want more on innovation best practices, we've got some resources for you. You can just go to my website, i2ge, the letter I, number 2ge.com. And you can click on the DIY Innovation Training on the menu bar on the left-hand side, and you'll see a whole bunch of training programs pop up. If you don't see a training program that's exactly right for your needs, just contact me. We'll be glad to tailor one for your needs. Here's what I'm trying to do with this DIY innovation training. I'm trying to make you innovation self-sufficient so that you don't have to hire expensive consultants like me and others to do it for you. A second resource is one of my 6 books that I've published, and this book is Proven Practical Innovation That Delivers Results. It's available only at Amazon in paperback and Kindle, and it's value priced below my break-even cost. If you have suggestions, comments, or requests, I love hearing from listeners. Just send me an email at richard@i2ge.com. That's the letter I, number 2ge.com. I look forward to hearing from you. In the next episode, we're going to go in another very different direction, but looking at innovation at another very big company, which is Airbus. In some previous recent episodes, we've looked at innovation at Google and Facebook, and we're now going to be taking a look at some very interesting innovation that's going on at Airbus. So if you want to fly with me on this one, I'll be glad to welcome you on board. As all of you know, I greatly, greatly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend it with me. I look forward to reconnecting with you soon in the next episode, and until then, please have a great day.